What's going on, everybody? This is Reaper and I am back with another video. Alright, well, thank you everybody for watching my recent video and giving it a whole bunch of views. I appreciate that. And today we are going to be talking about pretty much the same thing again, only this time I have a lot of backup thoughts, considering that Sega Man and Tuckmaster and a whole bunch of people have gone absolutely bonkers over the new rhetoric that is Microsoft. So I think that is actually quite funny. But the main core thing that I want to put across to you Xbox is, if PlayStation has no games, why the fuck am I playing about 57 games per year? I just want to point that out there. And if Xbox has no games, why the hell am I still playing Call of Duty every single day? So, Xbox got no games, PlayStation got no games. Both sides of the coin are retarded. So my main course of action in this video is to set straight what Xbox, PlayStation, and PC are really for, and they are really all about the variety of catalog that they actually carry. So it's not always about whether it's multiplayer or whether it's single player focused. It matters on whether or not they have quality games in each catalog that you prefer. So I personally know that PlayStation has a bunch of games in its catalog that was actually of a variety and value, and it actually did take me a while to beat each game last year. So yes, they actually do have value. Now on the Xbox side, most of those games on Game Pass are all indies. Indies are trash. They do not deserve to actually even be made. It should only be AAA focused from this point into the future. You should not spend needless amounts of funds on getting indie games up and running, because most of the time indie games don't last more than 6 months, and then they absolutely flop. So I think that's actually kind of funny. But when you have ponies whining and crying that Xbox got no games, you might be right on that, because as far as I'm concerned, there's a very low amount of quality games on Xbox right now, and the games that are of quality I have already finished and I already completed, so I actually do not need to play them anymore. And that is the other thing that I wanted to actually touch on just for a little bit, was the fact that once single player games are beaten, there's no need whatsoever to go back and play them. I don't care how good they are. They one and done games are one and done games to me. So games like Halo and Gears, one and done. They do not hold my attention anymore. Once I beat them, I'm finished with them. Now if they create new ones, I will actually get on my controller and I will actually play those games and I will beat them post haste. But they will not stay in my catalog. They won't stay in my library for very long, because once I beat them, they're done. So I think that's something that ponies got to understand, is that on your catalog you have a lot of one and done games. You don't have a lot of year-round actual titles. And the year-round titles that you have were given to you by Microsoft. So I think that is actually kind of funny. And then on Xbox side, you don't have that many quality games. You only have one and done quality games, and you do not have any games of actual recurring value. And the only game of recurring value that you have on your system is Call of Duty. So I think that is actually kind of a message. If it's not multiplayer, it doesn't stick. If it's not of value, it doesn't stick. And I think that most people that actually play the PlayStation or Xbox, and they don't play both, they're looking for a certain type of value in a game that only certain games actually bring you. And I think that is actually quite true. But on the flip side of that, with Xbox, it's all about the multiplayer scene. It's all about the PvP action. It's all about the actual camaraderie and community. It's all about the actual, how much fun can you have in a lobby before you basically hit hit the W. And I think that most people, see Xbox as kind of a casual kind of experience now that all its exclusives are going over to other platforms. And you got to remember, people, that games going on other platforms is a good thing, because that means there's going to be more income coming into Microsoft's pocket if they put their titles on other systems, because once they sell on other systems, they get the money. So that's how that works. And I don't really think that's a bad choice for Phil in what he's doing. I just think that, if Phil wanted to basically, how do you say it? If he wanted to basically put a target on his back, that's exactly what he's doing. So he's basically giving the Xbox people no joy in saying that exclusives don't last forever, and they will eventually go to other platforms if necessary. And I think that is actually quite impressive, because for the longest time, these titles that are coming to PlayStation this year have never been on a PlayStation before. So we will see if they can actually even run them, and that will actually be even better to see. But given the PlayStation 5 power, I guarantee you they can run those games. So when you give PlayStation your identity, what identity do you have left to actually offer your consumer? I'm actually kind of curious about that, and I actually am kind of curious what you guys think too, because without Halo, Gears, and Forza, what is Xbox worth anymore? I gotta admit, probably not a whole lot. So I gotta admit that right off the bat, because being a owner of all three systems, I gotta tell you that I barely get to use my Xbox anymore, because there's not any actual quality games that actually are coming to it. And then we will get a couple quality games this year, and one of the biggest games that I'm looking forward to is Assassin's Creed Shadows. But I got to admit that one big Japanese game is not gonna basically get me to basically roll over and say Xbox One. It's gotta take a whole bunch of different titles to make me say that. So I think that as long as Phil knows what he's doing, the system will continue to work, and they will keep pumping out games for all platforms. And that's exactly what he wants to do. He wants to be a third world publisher. He wants to be the biggest publisher in games, period. And the best way to do that is not to hold your games to your system. It's to share it and to basically explore other opportunities that other platforms give. So I think that is actually quite incentive of Phil to actually decide to do that. Even after 25 years of Xbox being relevant and never giving their exclusives to other platforms, they're finally going to do it. And they're finally going to break that chain that holds them down. And then they are basically going to succeed. And I think they're going to succeed in other ways than just Game Pass and hardware sales. I think they are actually going to make a humongous amount of revenue over giving their titles to other platforms to use and to play. And I think that is basically Phil's actual directive. And I do not believe that he will actually screw up, but I believe that he might alienate most of his player base once he does that. And once he does that and all the exclusives are gone, you either have to make new exclusives, or you basically have to accept that you're just a third world publisher and you do not care where your titles lie. So I think that is actually quite true. But with all these ponies and all these fanboys crying, Xbox is dead, Xbox is dead, Xbox is dead. No, they're not dead. They're just going to make a lot more money off of other people than most people would think. And I think that is actually quite a good thing. But I think that most people need to understand that Xbox is trying to go third party. They are trying to actually get their reach beyond just their platform and just their hardware. They're trying to scope over to other hardware and other platforms so that their games can be more, better used and better played. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's actually a very, very smart decision in business, to be perfectly honest. So, you know, if they want to make more money off of Sony, they want to make more money off of Nintendo, go right for it. And that's basically how that's going to work. So I think that's actually quite interesting. But on the flip side, I think that most people need to basically get over the fact that Xbox is only concerned about their first party lineup and their first party exclusive, because soon enough there will be no more exclusive to speak of. You will have all your first party games going to other platforms, and then you will basically become the third world publisher worldwide. And I think that is basically what Phil is trying to aim at. And then let's not forget about the next generation that's going to have the Series X2 and 3 more consoles on the way that will basically be worthless, and the only system worth buying is the Series X2, and that's going to be the PC hybrid. So I think that's going to be kind of interesting. So I think that's basically where people gotta remember that Xbox is heading. They're heading to an all digital, all access future. And I think people got to remember that before they start whining and crying and saying that Xbox is dead, Xbox is dead, PlayStation is dead, PlayStation's got no games. Well, if PlayStation has no games, people, why am I playing 57 of them per year? Just pointing that out there. And I beat them all too, so, you know, I don't have any more of those 57 games to play, but I still do got games to play on my PlayStation. So it's not like PlayStation has no games. It's just, you know, they don't have the games that you like, or they don't have the games that you prefer. So, you know, why don't you shut your mouth and basically learn to actually play games the right way and not care so much about whether its identity is in question, and just care whether it's fun or not. And I think that is going to be my message for the day. So I hope everybody enjoyed this video. I hope everybody found it useful. Please leave a like, comment if you like, and I will reply. But other than that, I will catch you guys later. Later.